Hi everyone, my name is Watkins Atwine. I'm a civil engineer by profession, and in this field I've tried to identify some of the problems that are facing most people. There are those that clients face their challenges, engineers face their challenges, architects, you can name them. But there is one common challenge that I've seen being faced by the clients that I would want us to talk about today. When a client or somebody needs a house or has a dream, they contact someone to design for them. That person does so nice, precious designs, nice looking, beautiful, that even the client cannot wait to have them functional and be in them. Now, when the designs are done, the clients needs to know how much it really costs to have them functional, and bills of quantities are prepared and submitted to him, and then he maybe asks, can it be reduced further, and then finally he plans for that amount. But as construction begins, it so happens that the prices, in most cases, the costs go high than what exactly was planned or put in the bills of quantities, and this becomes so overwhelming on the side of the client and so stressful that even the project may not reach the end if there is no further funding in reference to what was actually planned. I'll begin with the causes. With the experience, I've seen what causes this. In most cases, one of the causes is different time intervals between when the bills of quantities were prepared and when the construction commences. You find that bills of quantities were prepared in 2010, and then that's when the designs were made. And then 5 years, 3 years down the road, somebody comes up and wants to start constructing after has gathered the money that was declared to him. And then by the time you start buying some of the items, you find things are not adding up due to inflation and some other things. So that is one of the causes. When there is some big time lag between when the bills of quantities are prepared and when you're starting the construction. Then also there is also different price changes with on different commodity, on different construction materials. For example, you find in areas, for example, if you're near an area where sand is being extracted, you may have it cheaper than the person who has put in transport costs. Somebody who is staying near Rweza will have sand delivered at a cheaper cost than somebody who needs it to be transported for longer distances. So somehow, if the cost was at the point when it is being extracted and it didn't put into consideration of transport cost, then it becomes an issue. Another problem is expensive designs. You find that the designs themselves are too expensive unnecessarily. And this comes into play when the person contacted to do the designs is not fully trained or fully rooted with what it takes to do the design. In the design, there are very many things we consider. We consider the costs. It has to have a building delivered or constructed with like 600 M, when actually another person has had the same building or the same whatever, when it is done using like 200 M, that is almost like 30% of the other. So there are some designs that are unnecessarily expensive that you could even have some more other options that are achievable and can do the same, but when you don't need, there are some designs you even look at and you find too many columns, too many beams when they are not even needed, just killing space for nothing. So, and you're incurring costs, and then the place is going to be congested with beams, with columns, and then unnecessarily. And it also comes to, if the client has to articulate and actually tell you exactly what the structure of the building is going to be used for, so that the loads are properly calculated, so that we know how many we shall need. And if there is anything to do with change in use, then later in future, it has to be considered during the time of design, so that the functionality matches the strength of what is designed. Then another cause is engaging non-professionals. You find that somebody has learned on job, he has constructed 2-3 houses, and now he knows it all. And then he tells, even don't go to design, we shall do what we did at the Joshua's place or Mr. Mukasa's place. We did it, we are the ones who did it. So you bring the same plan and insert it somewhere. Find the positioning of the rooms is not articulating with how the sun rises and all that, the slope, the other factors that we do consider. And then you find the same phototype everywhere, but even where it is not applied, the gradient and all that. And even you find this affects even in future. We find we want to pass a road or something, and then we have no way because of improper planning. We are supposed to have routes demarcated well before construction, so that even if construction is done, we have routes passing and we can access everywhere. Then we have another cause, a wrong application. You can have right materials, you can have everything, but if they are improperly applied, then you will have extra costs being incurred. For example, if we have recommended that the ratio of 1:4, that it should be used, and then when people see many bags, they use 1:3, then some will incur more costs than what was planned. Then those are some of the then also the person you engage also to do for you the calculations. If he has estimated some amount for you, that this is the amount that it will cost for you to build. If the person also didn't calculate well, then somehow things may not tally with what actually you're going to interface or buy. Those are some of the causes that I think cause those changes in the prices. There could be other that I've not mentioned, but those are the common ones. And this is what I would encourage, or these are some of the solutions that I think should be taken into consideration. One, you always engage professionals into doing your work. Why? They are trained to do so. It's like when you are sick and then you go to the hospital. And then when you reach there, you find the doctors, the nurses, each one is doing their own work. Then they prescribe for you, and then you start saying, no, this one I will not take. Yet actually, by the time you went there, you knew that you cannot handle on your own. So you've actually given. So then we have a second one, implication of what changes you need. For example, when somebody is still designing for you, and then you're trying to say, no, let's put here this, I don't need a column there, I need a balcony here. Always try to ask the cost implications of having that, so that at least once you have that in the mind, then as a client, you know what you need to prepare. Because you can ask for changes even when construction has already started, and then some of those changes bring more cost implications. Then always have clear scope mark. Have a clear scope of, for example, if somebody is doing 4 bills of quantities, there could be some items that were left out. For example, Some of the somebody has quantified but has not gone site to see what is supposed to quantify, and then you find you need to grade the land, you need to have some imported maram, maybe the soil that cannot be used for bag feeding, maybe the hardcore in that area is not there, and the aggregates you need to bring them from far. So some of those things, if somebody just assumes the standard that things are nearby and then they're supposed to be bought, and you find somehow you have implications, you have some cost implications. Always ask whether what you need can be achieved in another way, but that is cost effective. For example, you need a 3-bedroom, but you want it to be roofed in a certain way. Can you have some other ways of having the same thing achieved, but still not compromising the strength or not compromising the durability? So if those ways are there, those are so much welcome, and they are the ones which we recommend, so that at least we have affordable housing. Then I also recommend that don't use one person to quantify for you. You can have 3 or 2 or 4, depending. Then you try to see the difference. Now, when you discover the discrepancy is a bit small, then you might think it is realistic. But if you find some of the values are too much, there is a big difference. Then it means somehow you need to before you embark on before you know how much to look for, you need to first understand which one is more realistic. Then also, how you as a client, you need to have basics of how much as a client you yourself, you may entrust ask the engineers to work for you, but at least, for example, if somebody has told you need around 2,000 bags of cement, how much is a bag of cement? Just simple math, 1 bag times you need these bars, how much? This one, then you need these strips of sand, how much is each one? So you have an indicative figure of what it is, then the rest can come and follow, but don't be blank and wholesomely entrust. You need to have some basics of how much some of these things cost. Go to market, and also, for example, you need a water tank. Have some basics so that at least but of course, having basics also comes along with some implications. You need to understand that maybe what you've asked for is not what is going to work for you somewhere, somehow. So you have to keep engaging. You need to keep engaging. This is a project that you putting in money and you need to get value out of. So you need to keep engaging. Ask whether what you need will work. If it won't, what can be the best option and all that. Or maybe you had seen something somewhere and you think it would work for you. Inquire and see what is the implication of having it this way, so that at least at the end of it all, you have what you need, but again in the most appropriate way. Thank you for listening. We can keep comments are welcome, so that at least we solve some of these problems that we are facing in the society.